Hello, Autism Ontario campers, and thank you for joining me for our cooking video today. We are going to make one of my favorite summer treats of all time, macaroni salad. You'll have to excuse the background because my kitchen's under construction a little bit right now, so it doesn't look super pretty, but it works. So we're gonna do our best to make a delicious macaroni salad today. So I'll start off by telling you the ingredients that we're gonna need. So first, we're gonna need macaroni, of course. Any kind of macaroni works, whatever you like best. We're gonna need salt, and we're gonna need pepper. We're also going to need parsley. It's best if you have fresh parsley. I have dried parsley though, and that's okay. For our dressing, we're going to need, in addition to those seasonings, some mayonnaise. Any kind of mayonnaise is fine. Some white vinegar. Some Dijon mustard, or you can use regular mustard. If you don't have Dijon mustard, that is okay. And white sugar. I realized too late that I'm out of white sugar, so I'm gonna substitute it with a little bit of maple syrup instead. But if you're making this at home, it's supposed to be white sugar. So those are all the ingredients for the dressing and the macaroni. Next, we're gonna need our vegetables. So you'll need a red onion. I've got mine in a bag here. A red pepper. I also have that in a bag. And some celery. Our last ingredient, and I forgot to mention it, is pickles. So we will need pickles for this recipe. Though the great thing about macaroni salad is that you can really use any sort of vegetables or toppings that you like. I'm sure it will be delicious. So let's get started, everybody. Go wash your hands and we will get to cooking. So first we're gonna need to fill a pot with water to boil to make the noodles. So I'm gonna fill my pot with water at the sink. Then I'm gonna take my pot full of water and put it on the stove. I'm gonna put my lid on top and I'm gonna turn my stove to about 8 or 9 to let the water boil to cook the noodles. So every noodle package has a different instruction, so you just follow the instructions on your noodle package. But I'm gonna wait for this water to boil and then I'll put my noodles inside. While I'm waiting for it to boil, I'm going to work on chopping up the vegetables for our pasta salad. Okay, so I'm going to get started on chopping the vegetables. All my vegetables are washed, so I rinse them in the sink, and now I'm going to cut them up. So you'll need a knife, a cutting board, and if you need help with cutting, make sure you ask someone you trust to give you a hand. So first we'll start by cutting up the red pepper. I have a little bit of red pepper here that I'd already used for something else. So I'm gonna start with that. Just cut it in to these long kind of strips. And then I'll put this part in the green bin. And then I'm gonna cut these chunks into kind of thinner pieces like this. And then I'll take those thinner pieces, I'll put them all beside each other, and then I'll cut them into tiny little pieces. This is how I like to cut my vegetables when I need to cut them small, but you can cut it however way you like. So now that we've cut up our red pepper, we're going to cut up 1 cup of celery. So I'm going to cut it in a similar way to the way that I cut the red peppers, is I'm just going to cut it into these long strips. And then I'm going to put the strips together and cut them into tiny little pieces. Next up on our list is we're going to cut up about a half a cup of red onion. So I'm going to take my onion and I'm going to cut off about half a cup, or just going to eyeball it myself. And then we're going to cut up the onion into tiny little pieces, just like we did for the celery and for the red pepper. So make sure you peel off the red parts on the outside of your onion. There we go. And get ready for the waterworks. Hopefully we won't cry too much while we cut up this onion. Next we are going to cut our pickles up. We are going to cut up about a 3/4 cup of pickles. So I'll get those pickles out of the jar. This is a brand new jar, so I need to open it. There we go. I'm going to take out my pickles. You can use any kind of pickles you like, whatever your favorite is. I love pickles, so I'm going to make sure I have lots. There we go. And I'm just going to cut up these pickles the same way that I've cut up all of the other vegetables so far. So now we're going to take our beautiful cut up vegetables and we're just going to put them off to the side. And we're going to get a big bowl and we're going to make our dressing for the macaroni salad. So the first thing we're going to need is 1 big cup of mayonnaise. So I'll get my mayonnaise out and my measuring cups and measure out 1 big cup of mayonnaise. So I'm going to go ahead and take that cup of mayonnaise and plop it right into my bowl. Next, we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of white vinegar. So I'll just pour that, make sure I measure it in my spoon. There we go, 1.5 tablespoons of white vinegar. Okay, so I'm adding 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Here we go. I'm using 1/2 tablespoon measuring, so I'll need 2 of these. Oh, let me give it a shake first. There we go. Beautiful. So that's my 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Next up, I'm gonna need a tablespoon of lemon juice. I don't have lemon juice, so I'm going to use lime juice. So for my lime juice, I'm gonna squeeze it right from the lime. I'll cut my lime in half. And I'm gonna try my best to measure, but it's not gonna be too exact. Squeeze about a tablespoon of lime juice in there. Next, we're going to add our 1 tablespoon of white sugar. And as I said, I don't have any white sugar right now, so I'm gonna use maple syrup instead. So I'll just pour out, that's 1/2 tablespoon, and there we go, that's 1 tablespoon. All right, last we're gonna add our salt and our pepper. So we're gonna add a teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And a teaspoon of black pepper. All right. And then we're gonna give it a good stir. Once you finish stirring your dressing, it should look something like this. And then you'll be ready to move on to the next step, which is adding in all of the vegetables that we cut. So you can take all those vegetables we cut earlier and just pour them into your bowl. And then we're just gonna stir the vegetables in with the dressing. Okay, so now I've stirred up all my vegetables in the dressing. They look amazing. Now we can move on to putting in all of our macaroni. So I finished cooking my macaroni just as the package said, and then I rinsed it in cold water. Now I can add it to this bowl. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour my whole package of macaroni into the bowl. And then we'll stir. All right, so here is the finished macaroni salad. It is looking delicious. I'm so excited to try it, but before I do, I'm going to add some parsley on top. I'm going to go ahead and add some parsley on top. I love parsley, so I'm going to add a whole lot. There we go. That's our finished macaroni salad. I hope you all enjoy. Send a picture if you made it. I'd love to see. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye, everyone.